Yeah, hello and welcome to this rapid game that I'm going to open with what? Exactly. What do I do? Knight f3. Let's go knight f3. My usual default move. Yeah, I hope the video is recording alright. I had some changes with the XSplit software. So I sincerely hope everything is okay. I somehow the webcam, it looks a bit weird, like I know it's kind of red, yeah. I don't know what that is. Yeah, but anyway, you know how I look like. So nothing special. Okay, so I'm playing against Pat6578. And let's see, Queen's Indian style position. It's still very flexible. Black can play a number of setups. With c5, he would transpose into possibly a hedgehog formation. Bishop e7 is a Queen's Indian. Queen's Indian style position. I still have not played d4 yet, so this is a bit different compared to the regular Queen's Indian. There, Black oftentimes has knight e4 available, the e4 square. This is not the case with White delaying d4. It takes a really long time here. It's a bit surprising. It is 15 plus 5, by the way. Usually I go 15 plus 3, but he challenged me to 15 plus 5, and I think I really welcome 1 or 2 extra seconds. It's totally okay. Not a big difference anyhow. That's too long, really, for such a reasonably simple decision here. If you play e6, b6, you should know what to do here. By the way, a move that is playable but rarely played is the move g6. It's a little bit, it looks a little bit strange, but it is perfectly okay. g6, bishop g7. It usually leads to more to a little bit more imbalanced positions. I went for b3, bishop b2. White has 3 main choices. He can do exactly what I did. Fianchetto can go knight c3, rook e1, trying to play e4, or just play d4 to transpose back into the Queen's Indian. Yeah, with c5 we again transpose to something that could be easily a hedgehog. Now a6 or d6 signals Black's would signal Black's intention to go for the hedgehog. He plays d5, however. Yeah, this is of course possible. e3 is the most the most combative option. I think I can also take, but in this particular situation, taking with the knight I think should be fine for him. So I'll go with e3. e3 has a couple of ideas. One idea is to have the e2 square available for the queen, so that queen e2 connects the rooks. It's reasonably harmonious. e2 is a square that's often pretty nice for the queen when both bishops are fianchettoed. There are also some direct ideas in the center. For example, in some cases I'm able to play d4 and get to a hanging pawn formation in the center. This hanging pawn formation after further d4 and d4, and then you have those captures when at the end white is stuck with c4 d4 hanging pawns. This hanging pawn version can become extremely sharp because white has both bishops here in cato, which is very aggressive in such a situation with the hanging pawns. So quick d5s are often an option. I think I should get rid of the arrows. The other idea that white has here is to play something like queen e2, rook a to d1, move the knight on f3, and then play with f4. That's something that is quite sharp. We'll see what he does. I think he spends a bit too much time on reasonably simple decisions. I mean, here the only thing you can think of is, well, you have three things. You can take on c4 immediately, or you have, you can think of knight c6, knight bd7, yeah, those two. And I think you should decide on that somewhat quicker. Knight bd7, for example, cannot be bad here. I think knight c6, you have to, there is some calculation there, yeah. Knight c6, cd5, knight d5, knight d5, queen d5, d4 is an interesting line. And there are even some queen sacrifices possible. Yeah, this is the situation, and now I can take c takes, knight takes, knight takes, queen takes, d4. C takes, knight takes, queen g2 check, king takes, knight takes, d4 check. This is not quite enough compensation, but it looks, it's a funny line. I can just go queen e2 here, but I think I will take. I'm sorry, my voice is a little bit off. We talked about hanging pawns. If black now takes with the e pawn, after d4, I should have a pretty favorable hanging pawn situation. Yeah, this should also be quite favorable. The problem that black has is that the double fianchetto is a really good setup against the hanging pawns. It's very difficult to push them forward, and in this particular case the knight on c6 is also misplaced. The knight normally belongs to d7, potentially f6, to lend more protection. We'll see what happens. Here bishop f6 is an option for black that at least prevents me from taking on c5 immediately. Queen d2 is a normal recipe here to cover b2 and allow recaptures with pieces on d4. So I'm not going to use more time. I think here the simple threat that I have is d takes c5. D takes c5, bishop b2, queen b2, bc5, rook c1, and the c-pawn is almost gone. I can attack it with rook a c1, potentially queen a3. Will be difficult to cover this pawn. c takes d4 now for black after knight takes d4 is pretty awkward. It's a very passive IQP position. Not, I mean, not lost or anything, but it is really uncomfortable. I'm a bit uncertain what black should do here. c4? Nah. c4 is tough to believe. I can probably take on c4 and play a4 to make b5 more difficult. The pawn on c4 should be a liability. Even though, yeah, black is suffering here already quite a bit. I'm not so sure if knight c6 here is such a good choice. I think knight bd7 or take knight c6 is what they usually do there, as far as I know. Okay, so yeah, rook to c1 is the most obvious choice. Yeah, just this one. This is also keeping open the possibility just to play bishop a3 in some cases. If he plays, let's say, rook ac8, then bishop a3 is yeah, is a consideration. Rook ac8, bishop a3, knight b4, d takes, b takes, rook c5. Should win a pawn. I think wins the c pawn. Okay. Yeah, this is interesting. After d takes c5, maybe d4. Huh. It's still hard to believe that it should work. So let's take this. Okay. Yeah, my intention was just queen c3. Just trying to win it. Always. That's extremely simplistic idea, but might just work. Knight b4, I can still just take it. The moment the c5 pawn drops, d5 will also become a lot weaker. I'm still not certain, yeah? Like d4, queen c5, rook c5, d takes e3. If there is maybe some kind of counterplay. But I really don't see it. I don't see anything. No. Don't see how he covers it. Really don't. Knight b4. But I still just take the pawn. You can take a2, but the resulting structure is just pretty awful. And I think I have some tactic. Yeah, knight b4, queen c5, rook c5, knight a2, rook a1, knight b4, rook b5 maybe. Attacking bishop and knight should win some material. So yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, rook e1 or rook d1. Rook e1, they can still not cover it. Rook d1 looks more normal, but this bishop e2 here. Yeah, but okay, rook d2 takes. d5 is just hanging him. Okay, rook f d1, knight b4, queen c5, rook c5. It also does not work, so put it here. It's more logical than rook fe1. Yeah, this is possible. But after knight d4, I should have a really nice position. Maybe knight e5. Let's think about this for just a moment. It's not a knight move will attack d5. Knight d4 also attacks the knight. So what is he going to play? Knight e5 most likely, yeah. I have knight f5, but then it doesn't do all that much. Knight d4 has one disadvantage. It does not attack the pawn immediately. If I go knight h4, I will directly attack the pawn. How does he cover it in the first place? He probably has to play like queen e6. Yeah, that is a move. It isn't so convincing, interestingly enough. Knight d4, there is knight e5, and that isn't so clear. Quite amazing. If I take it, B takes, D takes. I don't have a good knight jump. B takes, D takes, knight d4, he can just take on d4. I'm not really convinced that I understand the position. It looks a bit like I'm missing stuff. Yeah, B takes, D takes is not really doing much. Sorry for the sound. I have a problem with my keyboard. Somehow it detaches itself, and then USB recognizes it again. It's really strange. I don't see a good move. I actually like to double, but I wonder if this is just lazy chess. Like rook d2. Yeah, come on, let's play a move now. I mean, that's a bit... What I did now is not really great, yeah? Stare at this for 3 minutes and then play a move that I haven't considered all that thoroughly, but... Somehow the direct moves didn't seem to net all that much. Maybe knight b4 is annoying for knight jumps. No, probably not. Yeah, I expected that. Just that knight b4 move is kind of irritating. Can still probably just take this, pawn takes, queen takes. Oh. Knight b4, I think I can just take b takes, c4. And he goes for it. I mean, pawn takes, he cannot recapture with the pawn, which is clear. And I take a couple of times on d8 and I win b4. So b takes, bishop takes. I thought queen a3 then would be good. That was my idea when I went for this. I think it is okay. Yeah, again, pawn takes, rook d8, rook d8, rook d8, queen b4, queen d1 check. I have queen e1. Saves the back rank. Yeah, so he ultimately had to do that. Now, is there something really good? Queen a3 was my intention, so I think I'll go there. Build up this pin. It's quite annoying, I think. Okay, so he got rid of that one. However, now knight e5 or rook b2, there is a5. Yeah, he has given himself the opportunity to play a5. Yeah, knight e5 is threatening to take on c4, but not much else. I don't know if I do that, if it helps. It doesn't do all that much. Knight d4 is the more static move. The knight, you know, it should actually attack stuff and go to f4. But I don't see how I can get there. Knight e5, there is no way to get to f4. Yeah, again, knight e5, I don't see what it threatens. I mean, I see what it threatens, but he has a couple of things. What does he do, actually? Move the rook, the d8 rook to e8 or something. I don't want to take and give him the passer. Yeah, that looks downright weird. Not really happy. Just don't get to f4 here. Maybe rook b2, a5, knight b3. Trying to force that trade. That looks a bit weird, to be honest. Looks a bit doesn't look very harmonious, is what I'm trying to say. Rook a6, is that the idea? Don't know. Okay. Rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes, queen c1 check. So I have to take there. Okay, now knight d5. That's not easy for him. Where does he go with this thing? Knight e7 is also on the cards. Rook d7 maybe, but that is a shaky looking move. In fact, I can take maybe bishop d5. Bishop, and that gives me the pawn. Unless there is a trick. This one. Bishop takes, rook takes is good. Bishop takes, rook d8. Yeah, I can still take it. Threatening rook takes c5 now. The back rank. I can still do it. it's still a back rank checkmate. Yeah, that helped technically a lot. I think the position was probably close to winning anyhow. One point is that the knight was having this d4 square. Even without this blunder, I think is going to be very difficult for him to hold. Let's have a look. So we had this. Knight takes, knight takes. Yeah, queen takes is a well-known theoretical line. We can do that. Request analysis. I think d4. There are some funny ideas. There are some ideas with the queen sacrifice. I think actually that if black does this, this is not a clear thing, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is not entirely clear. I mean, the engine thinks white wins, but as far as I know, this is not totally wrong. Oh, I made one blunder. I'm kind of curious where. Okay, well, this I think black normally goes back, and then this is a bit better for white. Okay, he took with the pawn. I go d4, bishop f6, queen d2, queen e7, rook c1. All very normal. Yeah, now I take, queen c3. So it looks, oh, that was completely wrong. So takes, queen c3, bishop a6, rook d1. Yeah, this rook d4. Yeah, well, Okay, the computer takes on d4. This is of course, yeah, if this happens, of course I play knight d4. I was more concerned about this, which the engine here doesn't really like. It wants to go f4. I didn't consider f4. It is interesting though because of knight f5. So there is or this. This is the idea. It's just a friggin' fork. Ha. I didn't see that as a fork. Yeah, then I should play knight d4. Okay, so I could have taken on d3, really? Why? Okay, I'm kind of fascinated. So here, queen a3, always keep. So I can take here? Why? The back rank, oh my god. Oh, that is silly. That's really silly. Yeah, of course I can take here. I was just thinking here, and he goes queen c1, of course. But I can just take here, of course. He cannot recapture. This is a back rank mate. That was stupid. And I had 2 minutes, yeah. Okay, this is sometimes a problem. If the alternative, which is queen takes c5, is just comfortably better, you sometimes don't look all that hard. Still, that's pretty stupid. I didn't see that one. Yeah. He actually cannot take the rook on d4, so on d3 as I grab on c5, so it's a full piece. Huh? That's silly. Okay. And of course then we have the better angle. Rook d7 is better here. And I think I can take as the engine indicates. Here. Rook c2. I also thought that bishop h3 is a move. Tough. This is still tougher, eh? Not sure if I would have seen this. It's actually pretty nice for white. I get back to d4, it's a really great position. Okay, this way it was easier, I just got the pawn. Yeah, g6 helps of course, but the position is already, I think, very bad. Instead the engine indicates knight e4, after which, technically speaking, this is a really good position. I mean, I have the activity and I always have knight d4, which is a very good centralized knight that is covered, and I'm on the 7th rank. Yeah, it seems I win the a-pawn actually quite quickly, as this is a threat. Yeah, so g6 of course is a blunder, that's true. Engine is correct, but I don't think avoiding it would have saved the game. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. I did not take on d3. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game. Thanks for watching.